Hello, friends. Let's discuss current affairs. We begin with the discussion on. Oh boy, looks like it's stuck. Any which way does not matter. Here's a question on you know southern common market, which is other name for Mercosur. Now, the European Union has signed a long-delayed free trade agreement with Mercosur. This is the other name for this. The Spanish name for southern common market. Southern common market. Now, this map captures a little about this particular market and its members. These are the members: Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina. These five are the member states. So let me say this is Bolivia, because there are two countries starting with B. So Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. Now, what about these countries? These countries are associate members. But before that, Venezuela is a suspended member. Is a suspended member for all its actions against people under Nicolas Maduro. This country was suspended. Now, so basically, as of today, there are five countries that are members of Mercosur, and Venezuela is a suspended one. You see, these countries in the light blue. Basically, this is we have Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Guyana, Suriname. These countries are what are called associate members. They are called associate members. Associate members. Now, there is one country that you should be very comfortable with. France here. How would you may wonder, where is France here? This is French Guyana. That's why it's in color white, and this has no, it's not a member of Mercosur, or neither an associate member nor a full-time member, nor of course a suspended member like Venezuela. So France, French Guyana is the province of France. What about two other countries here? You look at this. This is New Zealand. Of course, this is not arranged, geographically. So there is New Zealand. Oh boy, there is New Zealand here, and there is Mexico here. Okay, these are observers. What are they? Observers. So New Zealand and Mexico are observers of Mercosur. So all about this particular, member group, free trade group. Now, any kind of free trade agreement, what it does is it kind of either lowers tariffs to by considerable numbers, by considerable percentages, or brings them down to zero. So goods become easier. Now, it becomes easier for goods to move between nations. Now, at the same time, if you look at the choices here, there is no NAFTA. NAFTA does not exist. North African Trade Agreement. North American Free Trade Agreement does not exist. It was there till about 2020, but then under Trump it came off the rails, and it no longer exists. It had three members: Canada, United States, and Mexico, but it does not exist today. BRICS, as you know, is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus five other countries of Indonesia, Iran, UAE, Egypt, and Ethiopia. Now, let's look at other trade unions or trade communities. CARICOM is here. Basically, this is all CARICOM. Okay, this technically would be CARICOM. CARICOM is a Caribbean community. Caribbean community. Let me write it here. Caribbean community. Okay, so basically, essentially, there are 15 countries, 15 signatories, 15 members of CARICOM, which is headquartered in a place called Georgetown, which, as you would know, is the capital of, is it mentioned here? Guyana. This is Guyana. So, CARICOM, Guyana. So you could say that Guyana is an associate member of Mercosur and a full-time member of CARICOM. What about ACTA? This is African Continental Free Trade Agreement. I repeat, African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It is headquartered in Accra, which, as you know, is the capital of Ghana. And you know, it also happens that AFTA has about 43 signatories plus 43 members plus 15 signatories. They have signed but have not ratified. So 43 full-time members of African Continental Free Trade Agreement, but 15 countries have signed it, yet not yet ratified it. So that's a little about this trading communities or free trade communities. United States President Donald Trump has announced a 10% import tariff on goods from 8 European countries that have opposed his plans to, you know, annex Greenland. This is Greenland. Okay. Now this looks quite big here, but Greenland is about 21 lakh square kilometers. I think I should use some red kind of color. Yeah, 21 lakh square kilometers. Now you see, this is Nuuk. Earlier it was called Gothab, but it's the capital. Nuuk is the capital, and about 57,000 people live here. 57K population. Okay. Now this is owned by this tiny country of Denmark. Denmark is right, between Norway and Sweden at the bottom here. This is Norway. Sorry, Denmark. Denmark owns, of course, it's what is called the Kingdom of Denmark. It's called the Kingdom of Denmark. It has proper Denmark. It owns Faroe Islands, which are here. Yeah, these are Faroe Islands. Okay, Faroe Islands, and of course, then the third place, Greenland. Okay, now United States wants Greenland. Trump says we want it for our security. Of course, it's a lot beyond security, because see, security-wise, Trump has also said that we would want the upper portions of Canada, upper islands of Canada. No, you might not have read this in many places, but this is what his plan is. So what stops him from tomorrow taking away large parts of Canada? Nothing stops him, basically. So some countries have opposed his plan to annex militarily or buy monetarily Greenland from Denmark. Okay, but we don't know what is his plan. As of today, he has suspended this tariff. He says that goods coming in from 8 countries into America, we are going to impose 10% tax, so that those goods would become expensive and those goods may lose market in America. But the European countries have stood firm. They said that nothing doing this sort of bullying won't work against us. Let's see where it goes. Galapagos Islands are owned by Ecuador. These are the islands where Charles Darwin, studied a lot of species and finally came with this idea that, he proposed this idea of origin of species. That how evolution has happened and everything. The theory of evolution was proposed by Charles Darwin after studying numerous species at Galapagos Islands. In fact, I'll tell you where is Galapagos Islands. You would find them. These are Galapagos Islands. Okay, yeah. So Greenland, Republic of Ireland, is it mentioned here? This is Britain, Scotland here. Republic of Ireland, if you would look at this is Wales, okay, Scotland, England, Wales, and there is this tiny island here. The northern part is Northern Ireland. This is the Republic of Ireland. Okay, so this is a separate country, completely different country. Chagos Islands are in the Indian Ocean, and there is an ongoing dispute between United Kingdom and Mauritius. Mauritius claims these islands, but historically, before Mauritius had run these countries, even before it was a country of its own, the Brits had ran this group of islands. And of these islands, there is a place all of you should be familiar with his name, Diego Garcia. This belongs to Mauritius, part of Chagos Islands belonging to Mauritius, but occupied by Britain, and now lent on now on long-term lease to the United States. Dioga Garcia is a place in the Indian Ocean, southern Indian Ocean, where America has its largest military base in that area. Okay, Iceland, of course, this is Iceland. Okay, now I'll just tell you, Iceland's capital is Reykjavik. Reykjavik. Okay, yeah. Which private lenders board has approved Sandeep Baksh's appointment as MD, reappointment as MD and CEO? You know, ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank has had Sandeep Bakshi for a long time, especially after he kind of came in pretty difficult circumstances for ICICI Bank, because at that time Chanda Kochar had just been forced out of the office. Chanda Kochar, as you know, is a former MD CEO of ICICI Bank. Then her name got embroiled in a scandal involving her husband and bad loans at ICICI Bank. So the CEOs of these banks, would you want to know? Yes. Axis Bank, Amitabh Chaudhary. IndusInd Bank, Rajiv Anand. HDFC Bank, Sashidhar Jagdishan, and Kotak Mahindra Bank is headed by Ashok Vaswani. Yeah. I think we'll go back to yellow. With which country's Coast Guard has Indian Coast Guard signed a deal? Undertook a joint hazardous and noxious substances drill. The Japanese Navy, my friends. Okay, the Indian Coast Guard is headed by Paramesh Sivamani. India has a long coastline, pretty long. It's like 11,098 kilometers long. India's coastline is 11,098 kilometers long. Should we look at only the leaders of some of these countries? Some of these countries we are quite familiar with. Thailand's capital is Bangkok. In this case, I'll bring in the Prime Minister also. Anutin Charanvirakul. That is Thailand. Australia, you would know, Canberra is the capital. Canberra, C-N-B-E-R-R-A, Canberra. And the Prime Minister is Anthony Albanese. Let me bring in Anthony Albanese. France, of course, there are military exercises. The question is on military exercises. You could have brought in military exercises. Like, with Japan, we have Dharma Guardian. With France, we have Varuna. With Sri Lanka, we have Mitra Shakti. Yeah. Maitri here. With Thailand, I think we could have stuck with that, isn't it? With Australia, we have Quad. We have Malabar exercise. Malabar has Malabar, that is exercise Malabar. With Japan, United States, yeah, and of course Australia with India. There are 4 countries. I could have stuck with that, but the zeal to share more. India's first Vande Mataram sleeper train plies between Guwahati, that is Kamakya, which is home to a Shakti Peeth here, and Howrah. This is a 968-kilometer journey. Okay, while the testing has happened at 180 kmph, you should know that the average speed is about 69 kilometers per hour. That's pretty low, my friends. Yeah. This will be run by Northeast Frontier Railway Zone. Northeast Frontier Railway Zone. There is one more. In fact, Eastern Railway also will manage some sections. Eastern Railway Zone and Northeast Frontier Railway Zone. Okay. You see, this is in Assam. Bhubaneswar is in Odisha, and it is, the head office of East Coast Railway, East Coast Railway Zone, East Coast Railway Zone. Identify the correct statement regarding the winners of the 2026 India Open Badminton Tournament. This tournament drew a lot of, notoriety, drew a lot of unwanted attention because of logistics issues, like the foreigners, European players complained that it's not hotter, it's the temperature is not good enough, you know for practice inside the auditorium. That is, it's pretty cold outside, very cold inside as well. So that's what they complained, and they said that there is bird poop on the courts and everything. So the winner of the men's singles title was Lin Chun Yi of Taiwan. Women's doubles title went to China's, what we say, China's Liu and Tan, while the men's title went to Liang and Wang Cheng of China. So doubles titles, both men and women, went to China. Men's title went to Taiwan, and the women's title went to South Korea. An Se Young. An Se Young of South Korea. South Korea. Yeah. As part of Operation Sagar Bandhu, India has built a third Bailey Bridge. This is a kind of Bailey Bridge, my friends. Okay. In Sri Lanka. Now, what's Operation Sagar Bandhu? See, India has for long pursued neighborhood first policy. What is it? Neighborhood first policy. So when Cyclone Ditwa struck Sri Lanka, it killed many people, destroyed, infrastructure, homes and all. So the government of India, in pursuit of its neighborhood first policy, launched Operation Sagar Bandhu. This was about giving $450 million in relief. $450 million in relief, my friends, in assistance to Sri Lanka. Now, this is what is called an HADR project, Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Mission. Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief, disaster relief mission. So India did a lot of good work in Sri Lanka, my friends. This is what earns us goodwill. Sri Lanka has a president named, it's difficult to write here, Anura Dissanayake. It's a presidential system, so the president is important. Okay. Let's bring in Nepal. They have an interim prime minister, Sushila Karki, Karki, Sushila Karki. So this is Australia, and some part of Australia where there is a Finke River. Finke River is said to be the 400 million years. That's 40 crore years old. 40 crore years old. This is said to be the oldest river system in the world. And you see, this is Finke. Okay. This is Finke River system, and you can see here this one. Okay. From here it starts till here. Finke River system. Now it's an on and off river. That is, in summer, all these rivers dry up. In fact, Australia is home to only one major river system, the Murray-Darling River system. Otherwise, it's one of the driest, flattest continents on the planet. Australia is one of the driest, flattest continents on the planet. Okay, so this is the river, my friends. This is said to be the oldest river in the world, 40 crore years old. And the local name of this is, the Aborigines, the local natives here, call it Lara Pinta. Lara Pinta, that's the name they say. Okay, it's the sixth largest country in the world by area. It's about 77 lakh square kilometers. Sixth largest country in the world. Okay. Mexico is the third biggest country in in North America, the largest is Canada. Second is United States. Third is Mexico. Germany is, I think, the most populous country in what? I think in Germany, in Europe. Italy, of course, all these countries don't really matter. With which European nation has India signed a joint declaration of intent on telecommunications cooperation to deepen our, our cooperation in digital technology and related issues. Germany. Germany is a global leader in telecommunications network. I want you to become familiar with the Union Minister of Telecommunications is Jyotir Aditya Scindia. Jyotir Aditya Scindia. Jyotir Aditya Scindia. He is the Union Minister of, telecommunications. Just for once, we'll bring in the leaders here. Germany's leader is Friedrich Merz. He's not doing good. No German leader has done good in the last 10 years, popularly, that is politically. Sweden's Prime Minister is Ulf Kristersson. Okay. Norway, Jonas Store. That's the Prime Minister. Netherlands, Dick Schoof. And Austria has a chancellor. They don't have a prime minister, but they do have a chancellor who runs the government. That's pretty much like the German system. The German chancellor is Friedrich Merz, whereas the chancellor in Austria is Christian Stocker. Christian Stocker. This is an elevated corridor. This is being built. One of these things is being built in Kaziranga. Now, through the elevated corridor, animals can freely move. Okay, this will move through a dense jungle. So, this could pose a major danger to animal life. So to make sure that animals can move freely through, through the jungle, to the forest, an elevated corridor is being built in Kaziranga, which, as you know, is in Assam. And it's world famous for its one-horned rhinoceros. One-horned rhinoceros. One-horned rhino or rhinoceros. Shall we look at some national parks? This is home to Kanchenjunga National Park. Kanchenjunga National Park. Of course, there is a new spelling for this. Madhya Pradesh is home to a lot of national parks. One of them would be Panna, Panna National Park. Or Kanha, Kanha. I know that red on this background will not be visible, but Kanha, Kanha. West Bengal, Sundarban National Park. Arunachal Pradesh is home to Namdhapa, India's easternmost national park. Namdhapa National Park. Okay. Niti Aayog's decarbonization roadmap, ensuring that there is no adverse effect on the climate, released recently, focused on 3 sectors: cement, aluminium, and MSMEs. MSMEs is what we should focus on. MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises. Micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, this ministry is headed by Jitan Ram Majhi. Jitan Ram Majhi. I think he is the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. He was once a Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar. Jitan Ram Majhi, Union Minister of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. The Union Ministry of Power is headed by Manohar Lal Khattar. Okay, that's enough. 2 ministries are fine. Manohar Lal Khattar. According to the draft National Electricity Policy 2026, India aims to achieve per capita electricity consumption of about 2,000 kilowatt hours by 2030. Kilowatt hours by 2030. See, today the consumption is The consumption is 1460 kilowatt hours. Okay, but the idea is to increase it to 2000 by 2030 and 4000 by 2047. 4000 by 2047. That is when we believe India would become a developed country. Viksit Bharat, developed India. Okay, that would be the 100th year of our independence. We just mentioned Power Minister, what's his name? Manohar Lal Khattar, who was recently appointed as a head coach of Indian senior women's football team. Ahead of the AFC Women's Asian Cup 2026. This is the Asian Cup, isn't it? And of course, Amelia Valverde has been appointed the head coach of India's women's football team, and she belongs to Costa Rica, which, as you know, is in Americas. Okay, this will be the host country. Australia will play host to the Asian Cup, AFC Asian Cup. Yes, Australia. Okay, the countries in blue have qualified for the tournament. The countries in yellow were eliminated in the qualifiers. The countries in whatever, basically, you could say, white, gray, they haven't fielded a team or they don't have a team. This is Yemen, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, what is it? Syria, Afghanistan, they haven't fielded a team. Well, yeah. So the defending champion is China. China is the defending champion. You got this? Yeah. You know what? Globally, number one women's football team is Spain, number one. India's rank is 67. And we are doing quite well compared to the men's Indian men's football team, which is ranked over 110, upper, above of 110. This is 67. Out of 198 countries, mind you, out of 198 women's football teams, 67 is our women's is the rank of our women's football team. The Union Cabinet has approved equity infusion of 5,000 crore rupees into SIDBI to boost what? MSMEs, credit availability. SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India. Let me repeat, Small Industries Development Bank of India. Ladies and gentlemen, SIDBI is the apex body for MSMEs. It's a regulator, it's a funder of MSME, sector. So, Small Industries Development Bank of India is headed by Sivasubramaniam Raman. Sivasubramaniam Raman with a double N. Sivasubramaniam Raman. Okay. We know about one, Exim Bank. Exim Bank is Export-Import Bank of India, headed by Harsha Bangari. She is the MD, Harsha Bangari. Yeah. IFCI, at one time, my friends, it was the first development financial institution started by the government of India. 1948, it was started to fund, to extend credit to both public sector and private sector enterprises. Today, it's more of, a department, basically. It's a company, it's a department, it's listed on the National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, and it's headed by Rahul, if I'm not wrong, Rahul Bhave. I'm not wrong there. IDBI Bank, is headed by Rakesh Sharma. Rakesh Sharma. So the CEOs, please. Rakesh Sharma. With which nation did India seal a liquefied natural gas deal with an eye on the Strategic Defense Pact and $200 billion trade target by 2032? The United Arab Emirates. The president of the United Arab Emirates came to India on a 3-hour visit, signed a SLEW, SLEW. SLEW means a number of pacts, and went home. Yeah, he went home happy. Now, the United Arab Emirates is India's third largest trade partner. Third largest trade partner. I'm writing in full here. Okay. The number one, I'll write here. First, uh, first is United States total trade of 147 billion dollars. $147 billion. Number two is China. I think I'll just clear this and write everything in one go at one place. Okay. I think we should use yellow because it's quite we are past that. One, United States. Two, China, India's second largest trade partner. Third, United Arab Emirates. With United States, we have a total, I think, trade of 147. Everything is USD billion dollar, USD billion. Okay, 147, 132, and this is the total I will come to. Okay, uh, because it comes to 100, my friends. We have a trade deficit of plus 40 here, minus 99, and minus, I think, about $26 billion. Yes. So this is the total trade. Those are the numbers, my friends. Yeah. If you get these two, you can get the exports and imports. You got it? So we export a lot more to the United States than we import from them. But in the case of China, we import pretty much everything from China. In return, we export pretty little. Look at the United Arab Emirates. We export and import a lot, but we still run a trade deficit with them. So the idea is this, and we have signed a $2 billion deal. Sorry, a $3 billion LNG deal. That makes us the largest LNG trade partner of UAE. We become their largest customer. Okay, with this deal. So meet Valentino Garavani, the founder of the Valentino brand. I won't spend much here. He was an Italian who died recently. He was a world famous, fashion designer. He passed away recently. This is INS Sudarshini. INS Sudarshini is what is called sail training ship. Sail training ship. These are called sails. Sail training ship, and it's going around the world, my friends. Where it is on this visit, Lokayan 26. In 10 months, it will visit 13 countries, 13 nations, and in 13 nations, it's going to visit 18 ports. That's a lot of ports, isn't it? Yeah. In 10 months, INS Sudarshini will visit 13 countries and, of course, go through 18 ports. Yeah. Name former president, India's former president Ramnath Kovind launched the Responsibility Nations Index in New Delhi. The Responsibility Nations Index is being compiled by three organizations: World Intellectual Foundation, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and of course IIM Mumbai. IIM Mumbai, it was previously called NITIE. NITIE, the National Institute of Industrial Engineering. Of course, now it's called IIM Mumbai. Not much to discuss here. It's just been launched. Which organization has received the Scotch Award during for 2025, particularly for its cell broadcast solution? What is it? The cell broadcast solution enables geo-targeted multilingual disaster alerts. In case there is an alert, a cyclone, something in multiple languages, disaster alerts could be set. Be prepared, or any kind of alert, don't venture into the sea and all that. So this is, CDOT. CDOT came up with this idea where they kind of, they can, through their solution, IT solution, the technology solution, they can send disaster management alerts. What is CDOT? Center for Development of Telematics. Center for Development of Telematics. Okay. Yeah. Now I want you to know that Navi Mumbai won the Scotch Award for its measures on property tax collection and, of course, without hassles, property tax collection. They have used technology for this particular thing. And coming to geo platforms, they have come up with something called GeoBrain. GeoBrain, sorry, this GeoBrain is an AI ML2 tool-based platform here. Artificial intelligence, machine learning platform. Which veteran music composer will be honored with the Padmapani Award at the 11th Ajanta Ellora International Film Festival? It will be Ilayaraja, the South Indian maestro. Is considered the greatest music composer in the history of South film music. Of course, it's arguable, that is debatable, but generally considered, arguably the most versatile and most honored music composer in South film history. So of course, these are all guys, who have come up with whose names spell, awards and most importantly, great work. The International Monetary Fund has raised India's economic growth projection for financial year 26 by 0.7%. Growth numbers have gone up despite Trump tariffs and everything. Economic survey came out yesterday, and you could see that India's growth has been minimally impacted by the Trumpian tariffs. Yeah, so this year, financial year 26, it's likely to grow at 7.3%, and next year, of course, these are all guesstimates, around 7%. We don't know how the geopolitical situation would evolve, how economic situations, policies, how countries react to Trumpian threats and tariff measures. Let's see how it works out. Which country has won the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations for football? Senegal. This is the World Cup for Africa. Not exactly the World Cup, but almost all African countries prepare here, participate here. Africa Cup of Nations was held in Morocco, host nation, and Senegal was the winner. Senegal was the winner. Morocco was the runner-up. Nigeria was the third, and Egypt was the fourth. Okay, in the order in which these are mentioned. Now, one more thing. Sadio Mane of Senegal was named the best player. Sadio Mane of Senegal was named the best player of, Africa Cup of Nations. With which global organization did the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship sign an MOU to collaborate on strengthening India's skills and technical education? World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, as you know, this is a forum that was started by a man called Klaus Schwab. He has resigned in the wake of a scandal, but its current chairman is one of the world's most powerful persons, Larry Fink. Larry Fink, my friends, is the chairman of a company called BlackRock. BlackRock is considered the biggest investment company in the world. Yeah. So, who is the Indian skill development minister? Jayant Chaudhary. Jayant Chaudhary. It's an independent charge. Jayant Chaudhary. What about the choices here? Bank for International Settlements. It's headquartered in Basel. It is considered the central bank of central banks. Basel is the head office, where the head office is. Basel, as you know, is in Switzerland. And its general manager, they don't have a president, secretary, and whatever. General manager is Pablo Hernandez. Pablo Hernandez of Spain. Pablo Hernandez of Spain. I think we've been discussing these choices for a long time, except for one more. ILO. It was started in 1919. It's considered the oldest UN agency. Remember, the UN came much later, 1949. But this particular organization, is a specialized agency of the UN and the oldest UN specialized agency. It's headquartered in Geneva, which, as you know, is in Switzerland, and it's headed by Gilbert Humbo. Gilbert Humbo belongs to a country called Togo. Okay. The rest, IMF, World Bank, we know basically. India has been ranked 6th in the Asia Manufacturing Index. Asia Manufacturing Index. The number 1 is China. Number 2 is Malaysia. Number 3 is Vietnam. And if I'm not wrong, Indonesia is 4th, 5th is South Korea, and 6th is India. Indonesia here, this is South Korea, and 6th is India. Japan comes in 9th. Out of 11 countries, Japan comes in the 9th position, my friends. That's all from me, Bharat C. Jain. Have a lot of fun. Thank you for being here. Stay curious.